Hi everyone and welcome back to the workshop. In today's video we're going to take a closer look at this, the Axminster Craft AC250PT planer thicknesser. If you watched my other videos you'll know that I did an unboxing of this, so if you haven't seen it yet there'll be a link for this down below in the description. So if you want to see a bit more about this machine and get to know what it's like, stick around. So just before we get started I just want to say that I'm not sponsored or affiliated with Axminster Tools and Machinery in any way, and the purpose of this review is to give you all a biased and neutral and balanced view of what the machine is like so that you can make an informed decision as to whether this is right for you. So with that, just to get started with a few key statistics, I'll put them up on the side of the screen along here for you to see. But the main things are that the depth of the table is 10 inches or 250 millimeters, and the length across its width, if that makes sense, is 1.1 meters or about 43 inches. The thickness in capacity is 180 millimeters or just over 7 inches. In terms of dust extraction, it comes with a 100mm or 4-inch dust port, which is pretty standard with most chip extractors that are made these days. And in terms of the weight, the machine comes in at about 150 kilograms, which is a pretty hefty machine and up there with some of the more kind of entry-level industrial machines. In terms of assembly, when the machine comes shipped to you, it's about 95% complete. So what that means is the only things to add are the fence, which comes as a separate unit, and the blade guard. It took about 20 odd minutes to put together, really simple, and the instructions are easy to follow and easy to read. Anyone that isn't sure or wants to check them out, I think that Axminster do actually put it on the product page so you can read it ahead of time, which is something that I did, which I found really useful. So at least it meant that way then, that when the machine showed up I could actually put it together without worrying too much, and at least I knew what all the parts were, which did help quite a bit when it came to that process. As I mentioned in the unboxing video, and I will mention it again, when the machine arrives it is really oily, and that's for the best possible reason. The surfaces are cast iron, potentially prone to rust, so when the machine does arrive be sure to put a good bit of time in with a clean rag, wipe it all down. A word to the wise, the first few times that you use it you will get oil on your wood, on the timber, so don't put your finest oak or mahogany or teak through it right at the get-go. It's probably worth using a few sacrificial pieces in order to get that oil off, especially I found on the cutter block where the oil trickles down in between the blades as it's spinning. It does tend to chuck the oil up, so I'd say that after a couple of weeks of using it, it cleared up, so just bear that in mind. So as you can see, both of the tables for planing and for thicknessing underneath are made from solid cast iron, something which sets it apart from a lot of its competitors in the sub £1,000 bracket. The fence is made from a ground aluminium. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see the milling marks on the fence. However, it doesn't affect the operation in any way, and I have checked and the fence is perfectly flat. I do remember from seeing on the Axminster website that there was a review that mentioned that they'd gotten a cupped fence on their model, but I've not seen anything else like that mentioned, so I'd consider it an isolated incident. And as I've said, I've not seen any issues at all with my model. The body itself is made from a pressed steel, so giving it a nice solid and hefty look, and also a high quality finish. It appears to be painted. The cutter block comes with 3 high-speed steel cutting knives. The advantage with having 3 cutting knives as opposed to 2, which you get a lot with other machines like this, is that the rotation speed of the block can be a lot lower and actually give a greater number of cuts per rotation, and it also results in a much finer cut, which you'll see when we give this machine a demonstration. The thicknessing table, as you can see in the machine, moves up and down on a large piston that's driven by this pulley. So what that allows you to do is to move it up and down with very gradual, slow movements with a very solid feel to the movement as well. The other thing this machine has is it has a locking nut here, which when it's engaged will stop the table from twisting or moving up and down when the wood goes through the machine, so there's no play whatsoever in the wood as it goes through. Next up I want to talk about defects. Now, credit to the machine, there wasn't really anything wrong with it when it turned up, but in the interest of a fair review, niggles that I had was the end plate on the fence, which you can just see here. It was slightly twisted, meaning that if I tried to put a piece of wood through, it would have caught as it got fed through the machine. Nice and easy fix. There's 2 screws on the end here that you can just undo, twist it back, tighten it up, and no problem. The other one then was the fence. When it's mounted, there's a mounting bracket on the back of the fence with 4 Allen bolts that hold it down. There's a little bit of play in those, and I didn't realise that when I put it together, which meant that the fence was slightly off to one side. I mean, I'm exaggerating the movement here for effect. In reality, it doesn't really make much of a difference when you're using the machine. When you're running timber through the machine, the fact that the fence is slightly angled doesn't really make much of a difference. I guess if you were using the full width of the machine, then yeah, that would probably be a problem. An easy fix though, as I say, because there's a little bit of play in those bolts, you can slacken them off, twist the machine round and tighten them up again. When I spoke to Axminster support, they were absolutely spot on in terms of giving me that bit of advice. It wasn't really worthwhile going the whole hog of getting under the fence, because I managed to get the machine up to the standard that I wanted. So all in all, nothing really to complain about. When you first get the machine, you will need to attach the fence, and as I mentioned before, that's achieved by these Allen bolts here that attach the assembly to the actual machine itself. The other thing that you need to do is to make sure that the fence is 90 degrees to the table. When it comes out of the box, it's pretty close, and I'm pretty sure from examples that I've read that sometimes they get it right, other times you do need to fine tune it, and the way that's achieved is there's a small Allen bolt on the back of the fence assembly and a locking nut. If you undo the locking nut, undo the bolt slightly, and with a good quality engineer's square, make sure that the fence is 90 degrees to the table, tighten the Allen bolt to the point where it meets the back of the fence so the fence doesn't move backwards any further, and then tighten off the locking nut. It did take me a few goes to get this right the first time, but it's well worth the investment to make sure that you get accurate cuts every time you use the machine. Okay, so next up is usability. The main facet of this machine is it is a planer and thicknesser, so one of the main things about its use is switching from one mode to the other. So what I want to do now quickly is just cover off how that gets achieved. So here's a machine set up in a typical fashion for planing or jointing, depending on how you refer to it. So what I want to do now, I've done all my planing, I've created two 90-degree perpendicular surfaces, and I want to thickness the material. So first things first, safety. Make sure that the machine is switched off and fully unplugged. Next, the blade guard, there's a cam lever here. We open that up, the cam guard swings back, lock that into place to stop it swinging around. Next step is the fence has to come off. So we undo the fastening bolt on the back of the fence, that slides out, put that to one side, preferably somewhere out of the way where you're not going to fall over it. On the back of the machine then you've got two cam bolts, I think that's the best way to refer to them. Undo both and they pull back. Now with this machine, I've seen this as a criticism. I have to say I bought the machine knowing this, but I have found it a little bit of a niggle, but it's no great shakes, it's easy enough to get used to. Put the lead down to one side and then the table simply lift forward. There is a bar here, which means that you have to do one before the other in the right order, and the same is true in reverse. Pull up the other table, tables come forward, the dust extraction chute then simply folds over and goes to one side. With the machine now in thicknessing mode, what you can see here, you've got the table raising and lowering pulley, you've got the locking nut for the lowering for the table, and then most importantly you've got this lever here. What this lever here does is that it locks the pulleys that activate the infeed rollers. So as standard you leave them stopped. The advantage of doing that is that it gives you maximum power to the cutter block when you're planing. However, when you're thicknessing, you obviously need to make sure that they're engaged, otherwise your timber won't go all the way through. So that's easily achieved. You push down and it slides up, and that's the job done. Another good thing on the back of the machine is that there's an emergency stop button, so you can simply push that in and then that stops the machine. One thing that might catch you out actually is that in order to disengage, it's a twist and release. So I've done that a few times now, gone from thicknessing to planing mode, not realised why the machine isn't switching on, and it's usually because that's pressed in. So as long as you remember that, job's a good one. So push the lever back down and then the infeed rollers are disengaged. Right, what I want to do now, I want to give you guys a quick demonstration so you can see the machine in operation. So what I've got here is a piece of oak. It's been rough sawn, so I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's got a fairly sort of rough broken surface. I'll run it through the machine so that you can see how easy it is to use. So we'll start off by planing the surface and then we'll thickness it. Okay, so what you can see there, just with 2 passes, I don't know again if the camera can pick this up, but that is absolutely smooth. One of the great things, as I said before, with this planer having the 3-knife cutter block, you could start sanding this at 180 grit and you wouldn't need to do any more. So just as a before and after, that's what the surface was like before, that's what the surface is like now. It is, I'm not going to say it's like glass, it's a bit of an old cliche, but super smooth. So what we'll do now is we'll switch the machine onto the thicknessing mode. I'll leave the camera running, but I'll speed it up so you guys don't have to sit and watch that through again. And then we'll run it through the thicknesser and then you can see what it's like. Actually, one thing I did want to say quickly, and I don't think I mentioned this in the review, was actually to do with the dust extraction. So, just to go around, it is 100mm and I've got about a 1.5 horsepower chip extractor. The one thing I've noticed with this machine, the dust extraction seems to be better in thicknessing mode than it is in planing mode. And I'll just quickly move the camera around so you can see that, to see what I mean. So that's the thicknessing table after running the material through the planing mode. You can kind of live with it. I just tend to take the hose off and give it a quick vacuum, or alternatively I'll just get a brush and brush it out. But again, maybe thumbs down on the dust extraction. I have read other reviews that say something similar. Maybe one day I'll upgrade the machine, probably not, to be honest. It does the job, but just something to be mindful of if you're going to buy this machine, that a good quality dust extractor is worth investing in. Right, so hopefully that should give you all a really decent view of the thicknessing operation. I mean, you can see there, lovely and smooth both sides, and as I've said before, this is what makes this machine so good. The quality of the finish is absolutely brilliant, and like I said, you could probably start sanding this at 180 grit without any bother whatsoever. So, my final thoughts. What do I think of this machine? If I had to sum it up in one word, fantastic. Credit to Axminster, they're a small company with big ideas. The quality of their after sales is fantastic. When I've had to deal with a couple of issues with this machine, they've always been spot on, very easy to deal with, very helpful. The machine comes with a 3-year guarantee, so credit to them. They're a company that not only look after their customers, but they also stand by their products, which is a major reason why I decided to buy this machine. In terms of the quality, as I've said, the cast iron tables were really what sold it for me. You're not going to get a machine with this quality of materials at this price point. When I bought it, I was lucky enough that Axminster had a sale on at the time, and also I managed to get a voucher through eBay, which made the price very competitive and a lot cheaper than I would have paid for it had I paid the full retail price. However, that said, even at the full retail price, it does represent excellent value for money. In terms of the little niggles, yes, as I've said before, the fact that the tables lift forward is a bit of an annoyance, but it's quite easy to overcome really. Provided that you plan your work out fine, you're not going to have any issues. Just make sure that you do all of your planing first. Then when you're ready to thickness, you're only having to switch the modes once and then once back again, rather than having to constantly switch between them. So that's it from me. If you've enjoyed the video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions, or if you've got anything that you want to know about the machine that I haven't covered in the video, please make sure that you leave them down in the comments below, and I'll make sure that I get around to answering them. So with that, that's it from me. Thanks for watching.